Hi everyone. Okay, so we're gonna um sorry. A few things happened tonight in regards to a phone call with the kids. I was denied access to them completely. Owen Johnson is refusing to allow me to speak with my kids now. Not only has he violated court order by not allowing me to see my kids, now he's also refusing me refusing to allow me to talk to my kids. So we're going to go over his emails. So tonight I got home from work and I called the kids, and it was about 5:30. So I called him and I left him a voicemail, and I said to him, like, it's been days since I spoke with the kids. I want to talk to them. If I can't get a hold of you or your parents, I'm going to call for a well-being check because I'm worried about them. Um, And he responded to say, Susan, as I said in previous emails, oh, sorry, before I got this, I also called his parents. And his parents used to have a voice message system and an answering machine. And it was turned off. And I am thinking it was deliberately turned off because they knew I would be calling, because I had told Owen I would call after work today. Um, I was anticipating being busy around 7. I work evenings sometimes, and I was anticipating being busy, which is why I said I'd call after work. Um, but he did not want me to call after work. He wanted me to call when he said that I was to call. So, and that is seen in here. So it says, Susan, as I said in previous emails, you may call the kids tonight at 7 p.m., not at 7:30 p.m. Like you just tried. You have a real problem listening to my instructions. If the threats of well-being checks or police being called continues, or calls with the kids get posted to the internet, the calls will end, and they are not court mandated, and all you're doing is trying to cause more issues. You need to stop lying to police, CFS, and everyone, including yourself. Any more issues, and that will be it. So, okay, so we're going to analyze this for a few minutes. So, um, in here, he's saying, as I said in previous emails, you may call the kids tonight at 7 p.m., not 7:30. So what difference does it make if I call them an hour and a half earlier? Like, he shouldn't be able to dictate when I call the kids, when I'm able to talk to the kids. And if he wants a set time, it should be a mutual agreement, not him snapping his fingers and saying, oh, well, you have to call at this exact time. It doesn't matter what you're doing in your personal life. This is what I want. And if you don't do that, you're not allowed to talk to the kids. That's unreasonable. Um, and it also speaks to abuse from him, the controlling, abusive behavior. So I was looking on psychology today, um, and there's an interesting article by Abigail Brenner, MD. It's called 10 Red Flags Warning Signs of Abuse: The Anatomy of an Unhealthy One Sided Relationship. So, in here, it talks about the aspects of controlling all aspects of somebody's life. And it says what you do and how you do it, where you go or who you're with, what you like spending time doing, how you dress, virtually every aspect of your life is up for scrutiny and control. Demanding an account of your time becomes the norm. The feelings for the abused partner is that of a possession rather than an independent person. So let's look at that for a minute. So in this particular situation, he he and I were done. So in this situation, the only way he can control me is through the courts, through certain aspects like the children. So he doesn't have any more control over my life outside of interactions with the kids. So what he's doing is and trying to control as many aspects of my time with the kids as possible. So in this particular situation, it doesn't matter if I was available at 5:30. He wants 7 o'clock. He only wants me to call 2 days out of the week. He only wants me to call on certain days of the week. All these are specific controlling aspects. It speaks to the level of control, the level of abuse, and the court system, unfortunately, is letting him, as are the police and CFS. And the sad part about it is hurting the children. Um, because while he's doing that, it also affects the children. It affects them because they're not allowed to talk to me. He's not only controlling aspects of my life, but of their life too. The next paragraph in this article of Psychology Today, it says the attempts to isolate the partner from family and friends. This is a version of divide and conquer. The abuser wants full control, and the only way to accomplish that is to severely limit contact with people who are close to the abused partner. Not only that, but the abuser is attempting to limit any negative feedback offered by friends and family about the abuser. If isolation/alienation from close others can't be accomplished, the abuser may use the tact of constantly criticizing close families and friends so as to drive a wedge and to at least limit the contact of others. So he is using the children in this way. He's using the children as pawns to try and isolate me, to try and isolate me from my family because the children are my family, right? So in that way, he is trying to limit contact, um, limit relationships. Again, another aspect of abuse. We'll go more over this in the next little while. It talks about violating privacy, like listening into phone calls, treating you with disrespect by blaming, shaming, or putting you down. In his email, he says, I'm gonna. He says, "You have a real problem listening to my instructions." Well, we're both adults. Why does he get to give me instructions? You know, um, it should be a mutual agreement on when I can talk to the kids, or why does there have to be an agreement at all? Why can't I just call and talk to them? Um, this is again controlling behavior, and it's harmful for the kids. Um, Blaming you for their bad behavior. So, so let's look at that for a minute. If the threats of well-being checks or police being called continues and the calls with the kids get posted to the internet, the calls will end and you are not court mandated and all you're doing is trying to cause more issues. Okay, so he is blaming me for this whole situation. Meanwhile, this whole situation wouldn't even exist if he didn't start limiting phone calls. Like, the police would never have gotten called for well-being checks if I had just been allowed to speak with the kids. Last week, when I was speaking with the kids, they didn't get called once. But as soon as he started saying, well, you're only allowed to see them or talk to them twice a week, as soon as he stopped allowing me to talk to them, yeah, of course they're going to be called. And of course, he's blaming me for the end result, but it was his bad behavior that that prompted the phone calls to begin with. Anyways, let's move on to the second part of the email. Um, oh, wait a minute. The other part I wanted to mention on these 10 signs um, is threatening you with harm or alternately with hurting themselves. Um, their inability to control the situation may cause them to accelerate their behavior, taking it several notches up from the verbal to physical. So we already know that Owen does get physical. That it has been seen in the past text messages. If they're unable to get satisfaction in controlling you, they may end up threatening you with bodily harm or harming those you care about. CFS, take note. So, this is partially why I'm calling police. So, he doesn't have any control over me, and he's not going to anymore. Like, um, saying I have to call at 7 p.m., that is stupid. Um, there's no way, there's no rationale on why it has to be 7. No rationale on why I can only talk to the kids 2 days out of the week. And if it was because they have a hard time going to bed after a phone call, which doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense, but if that was the case, why 7 p.m.? Why not earlier? Again, these are just excuses for him to try and minimize my contact with them. Um, but him saying, if I don't do what he says, I'm not going to be allowed to talk to my kids, that is a threat. That is an out and out threat. So up here, um, and now he's enacting the threat. So this time he's CC'd Madison Parker and Alexandra Aquila. So I want to talk about that for a minute. So Alexandra Aquila has been the lawyer on this court case right from the very beginning. Madison Parker came in probably last September. I don't know the exact date, but it was around that time. At least I think it was. But Alexandra Aquila referred to Madison Parker as her assistant. Madison Parker is not a paralegal. She's not an assistant. She is a lawyer. She is registered with the Law Society. Now, Owen Johnson right now is violating a court order. And it is my understanding, given previous emails from Owen, that it was at Alexandra Aquila and Madison Parker's instructions. Now, tonight or tomorrow, I will be putting in a complaint with the Law Society in regards to the two of them. I will be asking the Law Society to investigate whether Alexandra Aquila and Madison Parker, whether they advised their client, who is Owen Johnson, to violate the court order and ignore the court order, refusing me access to the children, or whether they advised their client to give me access to the kids and let me see them as the court order um, specifies weekly. I'm also going to be addressing this latest email with him refusing me phone conversations. And it'll be interesting to find out from the Law Society um, whether Alexandra Cole and Madison Parker advised our client not to do that, or whether they advised their client to do that. And the reason I say that is because if they advised their client to violate the court order and to make it so I can't have any contact with the kids, Well, that just speaks to the level of nepotism again. So, Madison Parker, as I said, Alexandra Kola has referred to her previously as assisting. So, I don't know if Madison Parker is some legal a lawyer lackey or whether she's a good lawyer. I honestly don't know. Um, what I do know, and I don't think she's a lackey, just so that we're clear. But at the same time, um, it really raises some red flags because um, he's got two lawyers here, and he's violating a court order. So either both of them are aware of this, and both of them should be advising him against it, or both of them are compliant in advising him to go ahead and violate the court order, which means both Madison Parker and Alexandra Aquila are going against the judge's orders and telling their client to ignore a judge. Um, the other part of that is if Owen Johnson went against the advice of his lawyers, well, that would probably be on him. But um, it'll be interesting to find out what the truth is from the Law Society on what the scenario is in regards to that. Okay, so we're gonna get back into this. So it says Susan once again, please showed up tonight, and at my place. Sorry. Once again, please showed up again at my place as you placed a call. You need to stop wasting your time and theirs, as it is only making you look worse. No, Owen, it's actually making you look worse because you're the one violating court orders. You're the one who is writing me emails saying that I can't even speak to my own children. Going forward, calls are not being answered from you. So the kids want to talk to me. I want to talk to them, but he is again enacting controlling abusive behavior. You remember what I said about the um blaming you for their bad behavior and um attempting to isolate you from family? Well, that goes to this. The courts never put in a no contact order between me and the children. They never put in a no contact order between me and Owen, although one should be in place. Um, but in between me and the children, there there isn't one. Um, and yet he is refusing to allow me to talk to them. He says, I have gave you many warnings about this, and this is the final straw. He has given me many warnings. Warnings. Warnings are something somebody who feels he's superior does. He is not superior. And the fact that he feels that he can give me warnings speaks volumes about the level of abuse as well. I mean, what happens after a warning? If somebody gives you a warning and then you don't listen to them, what happens then? Some sort of punishment. Who um who enacts a punishment? An abuser. Every time the police arrive, the kids are so scared and traumatized. All you all you are doing is hurting them. No, Owen. Again, you are blaming me for your bad behavior. The police wouldn't even need to be called if you let me talk to them. And there's no reason that you're not letting me talk to them. I mean, the calls, as you stated, are on YouTube. What was wrong with them? Like, the only thing that I could pick out from it was when he went and said to me, "Does this call need to end, or do we need to end this call?" I mean, that was he was talking down to me at that point. And when I asked him not to use that tone with me, he got even more hostile. So, and I mean, that's that again speaks to the level of abuse, right? So we're going to listen to the police.
Hello. Hi, Susan.
Because
Speaking. Hi, it's Winnipeg Police. How are you?
He accused me of
How are you? I'm good, thanks. I'm just calling
the police
to follow up about
scaring
the call
and
that you
traumatizing the
placed.
kids.
We attended your ex's residence and your kids, and they are okay. Okay. They're doing well. Gave them some stickers and also spoke with your ex. So, unfortunately, I was reading. I guess you also contacted a few days ago, or police were involved again. Kind of similar, I think, situation a few days ago. Yeah. Yeah, so unfortunately there isn't much different that I can tell you besides the contacting a lawyer. It's got to be between the lawyers at this point because we don't deal with custody. And because the kids are okay, obviously we're not going to take them out. But yeah, I wish I could give you more than that. But no, I understand that. It's just he's been refusing me all access. Like today, I got an email from him stating that I'm not allowed to contact them at all anymore. Oh, okay. Well, keep the email so you know it's kind of like you have actual proof, basically, something legitimate that you can take to your lawyer, and that way, if he's breaching some kind of custody that you have, then that's something that the lawyers have to look into. So keep that kind of documentation, and then you can bring that forward to the lawyers. Were the kids upset at all when you were there? No. No. Okay. No, they're okay. Yeah. No.
Okay. So the kids weren't upset. They were okay. They weren't scared. They were not traumatized. So again, Owen, that is total BS. But we're going to end that here for tonight. And because I want to get chapter 5 off or up online. But I just want to reiterate to the fact that he's doing all this to try and hurt me, to try and control, to try and enact power over me. But what he's really doing is hurting the children. That is what he's doing. All right. Well, you guys have a good night, and chapter 5 should be up tomorrow morning. And tomorrow night, I will try calling the kids again, and I'll let you know how that goes. Not quite sure what's going on here. It won't stop.